This right here is the brand new 2023 ASUS Zenbook 14. It's an ultra portable 14-inch laptop with an OLED screen. It's basically a refresh of last year's model, which had the 5000 series AMD CPU. This year it comes with the rebranded AMD 7730U processor, which is essentially a rebrand of the AMD 5800U from a couple of years ago. They did tweak it a little bit. It has a slightly higher max operating temperature and a little bit of changes here and there in turbo boost, but basically it's a 5800U. So it's a couple-year-old CPU in this laptop. However, it's a very good couple-year-old CPU in this laptop. And that's clearly done because, it's for what this laptop is designed to be. It's designed to be a premium laptop for content creators and content consumption and professionals, but it's not supposed to cost a lot of money. So the cost of this laptop is actually very cheap in my opinion for what you get out of it. You get an OLED screen in this model. It's a high resolution screen, 1800p screen, which is quite nice. It's a touchscreen OLED, so if you like touchscreens, that's going to be something that you like. Pantone validated, 100% DCI-P, very bright as well. So it's going to have 600 nits of brightness on this screen here. So it's a very beautiful, bright screen from what you get out of it. Super thin laptop, very thin Ultrabook style laptop. Approximately 3-pound laptop. I think it's 3.09 offhand, but very light laptop. You get a huge trackpad, nice keyboard, and you get the built-in numpad as well here. In this video here, I'm going to go over my standard review. I'm going to look at the performance of the laptop, visuals. I'm going to talk about overall how I like the laptop, and I'm also going to talk about one major deal breaker for me and why I wouldn't be able to keep this laptop, but it may not be something that's a deal breaker for you. Okay, and here's a look at the laptop. It's actually quite slim, to be honest. It's a very, very thin laptop. Going to be hard to show on camera. I don't have a lot to compare to like a MacBook or anything, but it's quite thin. Probably MacBook Pro thickness, a little bit thicker than a MacBook Air, I would say. If you've used but definitely a very, very thin laptop. So that's really nice. Like I said, 14-inch screen. So the overall footprint's pretty small, to be honest. Nice and portable. It's about 3 pounds. It's like 3.09 pounds or something. So it's a 3-pound laptop, 14 inches. No weird, specs or anything like that in terms of the design. Metal lid, definitely metal lid. Bottom, pretty basic. Design's nice, speakers on an angle there. I like these kind of angled speakers rather than directly down because, if you're sitting on your lap, sometimes you can muffle it. This just gives a little bit more sound. On a flat surface, doesn't make a big difference. But intake there, the fan is strangely under this bit of metal here. So you're actually not getting a direct air intake. That's kind of odd. But what I suspect it's going to do is it's going to pull in air in 2 places there and probably exhaust out the back, is my guess. Very strange, unless that's the exhaust there. Very odd design because the fan is basically right here. So unless it's just going to pull in general and kind of pull in through there, but I think this is the exhaust here. But yeah, nice design aesthetic overall. I'm not going to open it up. The reason is it has these screws here, which are like, those diamond screws, which is fine, but there's screws under here. And I don't want to rip these off. There's other channels that do really good on that do teardowns. I'll put a screenshot from them and I'll put a credit. So you'll see the inside of it, but it's not very upgradable. You can upgrade the SSD basically. It has a 2280 size NVMe SSD and the Wi-Fi chip, but the RAM is soldered and there's no second slots. Of course, you can switch the battery. It has a 72 watt-hour battery. I know that for sure. So it does have a nice big battery, which of course you can replace later, but that's about it. Port selection here, USB-A legacy port there, 10 gigabit. So you're going to be able to do, if you use an NVMe enclosure, you can get 1,000 megabytes a second. Micro SD card, not a full SD card, USB-C ports. They both support power delivery. You can see by the lightning there, and they both support DisplayPort out. So you can do displays on them. You can power in from them as well. And then you have your microphone headphone jack and a full-size HDMI, which is interesting. To have such a small laptop with a full-size HDMI, that's kind of rare on a laptop like this. Typically you would not see that. That's almost the thickness of the laptop itself. So basically tells you how thin the laptop is, that the HDMI is basically as thick as it. But yep, so let's open it up. Very premium, very, very premium feeling. So pretty basic layout here. Nice big trackpad. You'll see here that you have a numpad built in. Very, very nice trackpad and standard keyboard layout. Nice big screen, very small bezels. You'll see when it turns on. But it's a very premium looking laptop, very premium feeling laptop. So we'll have a look at the keyboard here. We'll do a little typing test. I find that ASUS generally makes good keyboards, probably second only to Lenovo. Yeah, so superb keyboard, exceptionally snappy. The keys are raised up a fair bit. You get pretty good keycap height on them, and the key travel is good. Keyboard flex, like deck flex, is like non-existent. You can flex it, but it's all metal. So, I mean, you press where the keys are, and there's no flex when you're just typing, or at least very, very minimal. Trackpad is huge, and it's a glass trackpad. It feels very nice. ASUS has very precise trackpads, and the click is really nice. Just inspires confidence to use it. It's just a nice trackpad overall. A really cool feature about this laptop, but you're not going to get a numpad on a 14-inch laptop. If you did, it would be horrendous. It would be so cramped. So if you put your finger there, you don't get a dedicated numpad, tactile numpad, but you get a numpad. So I mean, you can come up here. You can still use it as a trackpad at the same time. But then if you come down here, you can see up there 8, 8, 8, 8. Plus, and you can see the plus comes up there, times. So enter. And so if you're using, like Excel or something like that, this is actually really nice. It gets quite bright. They quote 600 nits on the brightness for the screen. It looks really, really nice. It's an OLED screen, and it has fine resolution. So if we come in here and we go to display, we'll see the resolution. So 1800, so 2880 by 1800. I think that's like 3.2K or 2K, whatever it is. It's a high resolution screen, very nice. High refresh rate too, so we can come in here, 60 hertz, it goes up to 90 hertz. Some people like 120 hertz. I find that the jump from 60 to 90 is very noticeable. The touchscreen is super responsive too. This is a touchscreen model. They make non-touchscreen models, but it's very, very responsive, very bright. There's something called the screen door effect, and people know about it. You might be able to see it. That mesh pattern you can see there. Sometimes when you zoom in on a screen, you're looking at pixels and you can't see them in person. I can absolutely see these. It looks like you're looking through a screen door. If you're sitting back, I don't know, like 2 feet or 3 feet, I can still see it. And I don't have 20/20 vision. I don't have perfect vision. My eyes aren't that bad, but I certainly don't have 20/20 vision. And I can see it right now. And when I'm working up close, it's very noticeable. You can't notice it on black. I guess if you really looked, you could, but you can't see it here on these dark surfaces. You can't really see it here. But the lighter the surface, the more obvious it is. And for someone who does a lot of typing work, I type a lot. I hope that the iPhone sees that. I'm not even zooming that much. It looks like you're looking through a screen door. And I can see it all up on here on the borders. I can see it all in here. It looks like hash marks. It's almost like dithering. Like if you've ever seen dithering on like an older PlayStation 1 game on textures, it looks like dithering to me. I think some people will be sensitive to it and some won't. If you're doing professional video work and photo work, I don't know, it's weird to have like such a high quality OLED screen and Pantone validated and such beautiful colors, and then also have the screen door effect, because it actually makes things look different. Like the colors look different because there's like a hatch pattern to it. Screen door effect. So I think this laptop is a win in terms of screen if you go with the non-touchscreen model. That touchscreen model is going to be very sensitive to some people. People like me, it's going to drive them nuts. Some people will not care at all. Right here, beautiful colors right here, absolute blacks, astounding colors here. Just doing this kind of stuff, looking at media. If you're using this as a media, if you're watching shows, you're not going to notice that screen door effect at all. And it is truly a gorgeous screen. Blacks, absolute blacks, vibrant, very bright screen, 10 out of 10. In terms of colors and high refresh rate, all that kind of stuff. It's a very, very beautiful screen overall. If you can get by with that screen door effect. So now we'll do an audio test here. We'll start at about 40 maybe. This is just a lo-fi thing. It has good bass. I'll move my microphone towards it, and we'll see how it sounds. I suspect it's going to sound good, but we'll see. I'm going to turn it up. It's quite loud, even at 60, it's quite loud. I'm going to turn it up to full volume. Okay, so killer audio, to be honest. Really good speakers for the laptop. But let's throw it in performance mode, and we'll just get some updates in that going, and just see how noisy it is. Just kind of day to day So the fans are on now. Certainly not noisy. Bring my dB meter here. So my fridge is on behind me and the fan is on, just doing whatever, doing some basic updates. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll do a stress test. We'll just do the GPU, CPU, we don't need to do everything. I'm just basically just gonna see how noisy it is. Okay, so we're in best performance mode here, fans performance mode, so it can go as loud as it wants. I'm on plugged in, so we'll see how noisy it gets now. So we're on a flat surface here, the desk is down. I'm not giving it any assistance raising it up or anything. This is basically on your lap type usage. So 54, fans are really going, and it's pretty quiet. I mean, again, it doesn't have the biggest fan intake, so it's not going to be super noisy, maximum performance, but let's go like that. So we're going to be thermal throttling. You can see there, it's, it just won't get super hot, or getting very close to thermal throttling. It may not actually be throttling, but we're getting pretty close. So. And you can see there, as soon as I threw it into standard mode and balance, the fans drop down. You could throw it in whisper mode, it would get even quieter. But it's substantially quieter right away, basically. Okay, let's test the noise level here. We're on performance mode in The Witcher 3. I mean, I had the settings up high. This doesn't have to be cranked or anything. CPU is not going max, but the GPU is, it's getting up there. Not fully max all the time, but this will be a case of it not super CPU-bound game. And again, just performance mode, and the performance is relatively fine. Now we'll switch to turbo. It should get a fair bit louder. What's my thoughts on this laptop here? It's hard to beat for the price. I mean, it's coming in at about $1,300 or so, $1,200 Canadian on Best Buy and Amazon and that. I've already seen it for a couple $100 on sale, and it just came out, which is interesting. So I mean, we're looking at maybe 800, 900 American dollars or something like that. You can probably pick this up for. It's hard to beat for what it is. I mean, the 7730U CPU is still very effective. It's a 8-core processor, 16-thread. It is basically a rebranded, rebadged 5800U, but that's still a very effective processor even in 2023, 2024. You're gonna have no problems with that processor. Despite the fact that it's a lower power CPU, you're gonna get a lot of performance out of it, but it's going to give you a lot of battery life. So it's an excellent CPU in terms of balancing battery life, but also getting good performance when you need it. The iGPU graphics in here, you're getting high-end Vega graphics. They're not going to be as effective as the already new graphics, but you're getting high-end Vega graphics, which are still going to be competing with the best that Intel has to offer right now. Hogwarts Legacy, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Last of Us, you're not going to be playing these games really, but you can play any type, you can play less demanding AAA titles, or yesteryear's AAA titles at high settings. Build quality of the laptop is superb. Typing experience is superb. Trackpad superb. Only the screen itself is quite beautiful. It does have touchscreen features. The OLED is gorgeous, Pantone validated, great for content consumption. However, I think for content creators and professionals who do a lot of typing, that mesh effect might be an absolute deal breaker when it comes to the screen. So before you buy this, I might recommend going into your local Best Buy or whatever type of stores you have nearby. Check out the screen and see if you can deal with that mesh effect. Some people it won't bother them whatsoever. For other people like myself who are, I guess, sensitive, I would call it, to the screen door effect, see if you can get yourself a non-touch screen, because this laptop, exactly as it is, non-touchscreen is an absolute win in my opinion. It's hard to beat for the value. It's going to have incredible performance. It's very premium, super lightweight, great battery life, just as an all-around really, really nice laptop, and the price is hard to beat.